Well, I reckon probably 100% of you out there have had this issue where you're drawing roads in and everything seems to be going well, and then for some reason the zoning breaks. And then if you want to do anything that's remotely interesting, zoning just sort of goes out the window, and it's just a bit of a nightmare. And it's the main thing that's frustrated me since we've had Cities Skylines 2. But there now is a mod that can fix all of this nonsense. It's called Platter. It's amazing, and it's going to change everything. Okay, so at the moment, Platter is a private mod. It's been made by Lucachoo. I'm going to put a link below because it is actually freely available on the Cities Skylines Discord, so you can go and find it. But we can see it's a custom zoning mod. We're going to go through how this works. You can freely plop parcels in the game, completely control the size and what you want, and there's more advanced features coming next year as well. Winky face, looking forward to that. I don't know quite what we're getting from that picture there, but that to me looks like something not even on a road. I don't know, but anyway, if you know what that is, let me know. So you get a whole selection of parcels of road which you can press that don't mess up, which you can place which don't mess up your grid. We can obviously zone those in all sorts of different colors and sizes, use the zoning tools that we're familiar with as well. And it works great with things like Move It and Advanced Line Tool. So let's just dive straight in and have a look. And what I like about this mod is it can do fantastic things like this. So we've got a circle of roads here. We've got a circle of houses absolutely placed equidistant from each other, set back slightly from the road because of using Platter. Now, the old zoning for this would have looked like this. You would have placed the roads, you would have got all this weird winky wonky zone, and let's just give them some power and stuff so they don't all leave and get unhappy. There we go, excellent. So let's just see if I can zone in normally these same UK houses in 2x2, and we can compare how that would look. So already you can see these aren't all placed the same distance from each other. I'm sort of picking where I want my 2x2 just based on what's available to me. There we go. That'll all grow in. And already you can see the distance between the Platter side and the side that we've zoned. So then you might have to use Move It and move them all around. But now you don't need to worry about that. Absolutely perfect. I absolutely love it. Okay, so let's just give you an example. Maybe let's just come over here and use the end of Daffodil Street. So first off, you can still zone as normal. You can come in every time you place a road. It's still got the normal zoning grid on there. You can go in, you can do all your normal zoning like you would do. Nothing changes. But if you want to place a Platter, we go down here, or I've got a shortcut to it. It's normally Control P, but that's picker for me. So I've done Alt P. And we get this menu pop up. Now, I've already selected what I want to zone here. So you'll notice that is showing up here. You can change it. Pop down menu, you can pick any of the zones in the game that you like. If the dev's watching this, a nice little search box at the top would be fantastic, but you know, there's ways to do that as we've just seen. So I'm going to stick with the low UK density detached. We can select here the size of the parcel width. So I've got the 2x2. We can either select it here, all the different sizes, and we can place it down. As you can see, we've got a 2x3, 2x4, all the different sizes up to 6x6. Very good. We can adjust it here if we want to, so we can manually change it like so, and you can see what it's doing. Go back to 2x2. Also, we've got some controls on the screen. So control and middle mouse wheel. So that moves the depth back and forward. There we go. Just scrolling with a mouse wheel. Shift and control. Oh, actually, we'll do Alt first. Does the width. We can see that's going out one side, then the other side, which it's really good. Shift and control, that increases the setback. And there we go. So that will go as far back as it can and will still allow the building to connect, which is brilliant. And I was thinking if I do that, it's not going to work, but it does still work, which I'm really, really pleased about. Okay, so we can bring that back in and we've got all the options in between. Now, you might have noticed in the green writing, it says 5 available 2x2 buildings in the selected zone. So that's this zone up here. So if I say make the parcel depth go back a bit, there's still 5. There's now 15 available in 2x4, 15 in 2x5, no 2x6. So we get that warning that pops up, which is good. So if I went to say a size where there was 15, but then I said, okay, now I want to do the width, and we go like this, there we go. At a certain point, it'll say there isn't anything that fits that in this zone option, which is UK low density. that is it. That is as easy as it works. So what you would do then is you could pop that in there, and it's going to, if I unpause, it's going to grow that building for us. Another option you've got in here, which I think is quite good, is unzoned. So look, as you can see, I can place these as unzoned little parcels here. They're all 2x4s, but nothing happens. And then I can go into my normal zoning, and let's say we're going to do this one. Let's do that one. And you can see that I'm using the fill tool, and it's not filling everything. So it is there if I'm hovering over the vanilla grid. If I hover over this grid, you have to sort of move it off and back on again. It doesn't. There we go. So I could do that. I could do that. Or there we go. You have to be careful, because what happened there is I moved from the platter I'd placed across the vanilla into the normal one. You just need to sort of, yeah, go into it like that without touching the vanilla. And that works just fine. So these buildings are going to zone in. There we go. Appearing as absolutely perfectly as I thought they would do. So we go back to the platter. We're going to get the 2x2 here. We're going to go along to the end. And this time I'm going to do the shift and control. We're going to move that as far back as it will go. There we go. So there's no 2x2 buildings of this particular zone. So what it's going to do instead is it's going to do what it can fit in that zone. So this one, it's done two 1x1s next to each other. And we can see that, as will happen if you're doing this in vanilla. Let me just show you what I mean. Not vanilla, but if you were saying doing a picker, I'm going to pick, I want to do it the other way around. I just want to pick the building. There we go. And then if I took off snapping and placed that back, I could put that far back. If you go too far, you see that it has the no road connection symbol, so that would be too far back. So the mod knows that that's as far back as you can go. And then you've got place here, you can put flowers, you can do all sorts of things in there. But that setback, I think, is absolutely game changing. The fact now that we can work on the zoning ourselves, that is brilliant. So what else can we do? Let me show you some examples. So we did this one here, and we can see the difference actually, can't we, of how nicely placed these are in a circle. So what I did to do that was I built the circle with the roads, and then let's just get a little bit of space over here. We go into our zoning. So I did the 2x2. We'll pick the UK one again. There we go. Fantastic. 2x2. And then we've got the tool mode down here. So I've got advanced line tool as well, but you don't need that. So it uses the in-game one. So there we go. We can go like that. We can go like this, as you'd expect. You could also do that if you want, randomly put a load around, but that's probably not going to help you. This line tool, so if we go over here, let's just actually set that to the road. So I'm trying to remember what the keys are. Shift control. There we go. So that's going to snap to the road, and you can see the distance is set. So we put that down. That'll be next to each other. Now I have passed this on. Even though the first one snapped, the second one isn't snapping. If we select road, it still doesn't snap to road. So I think that will probably be fixed, because that just seems to be something that would make sense to have. But you can just sort of use your eyeballs, snap that down, and then we could, there we go, adjust that a little bit. There we go. And that's going to grow those buildings exactly where we want. We can also go in here. So using the advanced line tool, again, you've got the straight line, you've got the curve line, and we've got the circle. And that's what I did here. So I basically drew this out, knew where the center was, selected the center, and just dragged it out. Took me 2 or 3 goes to get it perfectly right to line up. I mean, that is not, if I was going to do that for the first time, that is not too bad, is it? And all the way around the entire circle, we had this lined up perfectly. And again, just compare it to what the vanilla zoning looks like. That is just, yes, very bad. And that has annoyed me for so long that, for instance, if we have like the zoning here, so let's just go into whatever we're going to zone on there. You've got no control. Actually, I need to remove these. That's another thing you can do. Better Bulldozer will remove those for you. Nice and easy. Also, picker works. So you saw I had to change that to be the building. We have it all on as normal. So I can pick the road. I can pick the house. If I get it in just the right place, can I see the zone underneath? I think it's going to depend if I can actually get to it underneath. Well, I can do it here anyway. Parcel. There we go. That's what I meant. So parcel, and I've got UK on again. Let's just go to singular. And we'll go to that as well to get it in the zone. There we go. And it works again. But of course, you can turn off the snapping like we said. There we go. So we do that. Right click, turn it around. We can have it at all sorts of angles if we want. So if we want it to be really clever, with how we had the houses set up. You don't need Move It mods to mess around with them. Of course, we know how far back we can go as well. So we know we can go as far as one of these. Let's just go a little bit further. Yeah, that was too far. Well, that's okay. Good example. Let's use the Move It mod. Single mode. Let's just move that forward. There we go. So it's compatible with all the mods that I would expect it to be compatible with. Better Bulldozer, Move It, Find It for Picker and all that sort of thing. It is absolutely working brilliantly. Look at that. So then if we go over to, you know, a set of roads like this. Yep, deliberately these roads are a disaster to show you how the zoning can be all a bit hawky-balky. So you might just want to come in and I want to zone, let's look around this way, along Daisyfield Street. But at the moment I can't, because if I try and zone in here, I mean I can do that, but this one's going to be over here. So it's just not going to be what I want at all. That is just going to look horrendously bad, and that is the way the vanilla works. What you perhaps would do then to try and fix that is you would say, okay, maybe let's grab a path. So we'll do this. So we'll go along there. We'll do that. So now we get some zoning there, but you've lost this space where the path is, and you've still got a big gap down the left-hand side as well. So it's all just a bit all over the place. And then quite often you'll have something like this set up. I don't know whether I can trigger it, but you add another road. There we go. I triggered it. And the zoning jumps all over the place, drives you absolutely flipping insane. That's the worst thing for me. So there we go. Yeah. So let's get rid of that zone. There we go. Excellent. So we go back into here. Got the UK low density, and we can do this. So we can say, I'm going to do that. So we're going to go as far over as I've got Anarchy on, so that one actually might not work right there. But if we turn that one off and just snap to road, I can go right up close to it. And I could say, well, I am going to leave a little space in between. There we go. And if I'd worked that out correctly, I probably could have got even more in there. So let's do this. So I'm sort of eyeballing where the middle is here and whether we can get some more. Yeah, I'll just move them up next to each other. There we go. And then if I really wanted to overlap it, I could just do Anarchy. Oh, that wasn't Anarchy. That wasn't Anarchy. That was Better Bulldozer. I can Anarchy it in. That is probably going to mess up the buildings. So that's okay. Well, now I've seen that, I'm going to use the Move It mod. And I'm going to say, okay, well, this is what I want. I want that, and I want that. And it's, oh man, I've literally squeezed in as much as I could. We might get a little bit of overlapping problems there, but you get the idea. We are now in control of what is going to happen with our zoning rather than the game being in control. We'll come back to that in a second. Yeah, so looking at a section like this, if we just zone that in as normal, where's the building going to appear? Well, it's going to appear randomly. So the entrance is on this side this time. If I just delete that, so this side, now it's that side. So no control over which way that building is going to face. So what we could do instead, we'll just de-zone that. We'll go into here. We'll take our 2x2 and I can choose. So where that little white dot is, that's the entrance. This is the entrance. We'll just get that to line up. There we go. That is the way I want it facing. So again, much more control. How are these? Oh, they worked out perfectly. Look at that. Perfect terrace house using all the space as we would expect in a setup like that. So let's take another example. Let's just say you were zoning out a grid. That's what you like to do. So we're going to take our grid tool here and we're going to keep it level with that there. There we go. So that's what sort of thing we're going to do. Let's just get a load of grids in there. Excellent. We'll connect this up as well so it gets all the power, which we might be running out of soon. Okay. So you want to zone that central section. So let's just see if we can do a bit of that in the vanilla style and see how it looks. Okay, I've chosen the Japanese low density. We're going to go from one corner to the other. Well, that isn't working already. Let's go from here, one corner to the other. Excellent. And we'll let those houses build in and see what we get. Okay, it's all zoned in. Let's just look at this side over here. So, yeah, some of these blocks, the houses are facing this way. Some are facing outwards. It really just depends, doesn't it? We've got all different sorts of sizes, which for this zoning type might be exactly the look that you're going for. But if you really wanted more control over which way the houses were facing, you could do it manually. I mean, what I've done here is I've zoned the outside pieces, and then I'm going to zone, oh, let's try that again. Say the inside pieces like this. We'll go about 4 on each side. There we go. And that would fill in, they would face that way. So we could do that as well, but let's keep the same zone type. And we're going to go into here. We're going to do snap to road. There we go. We're going to do snap to grid, actually. That might be a bit easier. So now we've got absolutely all the control that we want. So whatever size. So no 2.5 buildings in that size. Okay, that's fine. Well, let's change the size a bit. There we go. So we've got 5 available there. So I'm going to place these snapping to each zone. Ooh, and we've reached a corner where that isn't going to work. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete those 2. I'm going to use the picker mod for that parcel, place it there. Then this one, I'm going to widen. There we go. We've got 15 buildings available there. So I've got more options, and this is just so easy. This is just so easy. And there we go. Much more organized, much more lined up. Of course, you know, artistic, however you want it to look is entirely up to you. But if you want to get things organized, then this mod is going to help you to do that. So why don't we actually dive into a city and see how we can use this mod to help us in a real world situation. Okay, here we are in the vanilla city that we've been using. It was built by somebody else. I can't remember who. I'll try and remember to put a link below, but it was on the Paradox workshop, PDX Mods. And yeah, we've been using this to look at all the new stuff while mods are getting fixed and updated. So there's a little parcel of land here that we want to put some buildings in. Here we go. Look, this one down here. So let's just pause the game a moment. So the way that the roads are drawn in at the moment, all the zoning is on this side here. And to get some on the other side, I mean, like we said before, it'll be a right pain. So maybe we could do this. Yeah, we'll get a little bit of zoning there, but that really isn't what I want. I don't want that there. I want it over here, but then I'm losing that. So can I do that and it'll stay? No, it's jumped around again. It's just not working, is it? It's just not working at all. But instead, we can say, okay, well, let's get some high-rise. Let's go for residential, and let's go for what is the biggest type. We'll go for one of these, US Northeast high density. So we'll grab that zone, then we'll get the Platter mod, and we can say, well, we can just fit all sorts in here. So let's just see what we can do. Tell you what, why don't we do a comparison? Let's do what the zoning would have been if we just did it vanilla style. I don't think that's going to zone because of the parks that were there. So let's let that grown. Yeah, I'll be groaning when I look at it, but let's let that grow in first. There we go. Super quick. All right, so that's what we've got. Excellent. I think we can do better than that. There we go. Just a little bit different. We've got this one set back from the road. I've decided to do that in that case. Decided for a couple of buildings over here. Yeah, your mileage may vary on how you want this set up. I probably wouldn't want 3 buildings exactly the same size like that next to each other. But for filling in small gaps where the zoning is all a bit hawky-balky, I just think it's absolutely brilliant. What have we got going on down here? So again, we've got some weird shaped sort of zoning going on that the Platter would help with, most definitely. So what do you think of this mod? Is this game changing for you? I mean, I could see myself playing vanilla and just having this mod. The only other one that I might really want is Anarchy, but I can see why that's not in the base game, because you're really opening yourself up to a million different ways people can break their game if they're not careful. Well, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this look at the new mod, then a thumbs up below would be great. Subscribe if you're new. We'll have more things like this. We've got the new asset workshop that's just dropped as well. We'll be taking a look at that maybe next week. And of course, we'll be back to the normal cities, hopefully, when all the mods get updated. We're going to have to wait and see like everybody else, aren't we? So thank you so much for your continued support. Have a great day. See you all soon. Bye-bye.